The rain hammered against the windows of my small apartment in Seattle, mirroring the storm raging inside me. My name is Barnaby, and until 3 weeks ago I was a content, if somewhat unremarkable, architect in my late 40s. I had a wife, Aveline, a beautiful, ambitious lawyer, a comfortable home in the suburbs, and a golden retriever named Gus. Now I have Gus, a lease I can barely afford, and a heart that feels like it's been run through a meat grinder. It started subtly. Aveline, always driven, became even more consumed by her work. Late nights at the office were becoming the norm. Business trips to Portland and Vancouver popped up with increasing frequency. I chalked it up to her chasing a partnership at her firm, something she'd been working towards for years. I even brought her coffee and bagels on those early mornings, proud of her dedication. Idiot. The first real red flag was the phone. Aveline had always been meticulous about her phone passwords, notifications silenced, always face down. But lately, she'd been practically glued to it, even in bed. She'd jump if I so much as glanced in its direction. One night she left it in the bathroom while she showered. Curiosity, or perhaps a subconscious suspicion, gnawed at me. I told myself it was for the good of our marriage, that I needed to know if something was truly wrong. The phone was locked, of course, but a notification had slipped through. A message from a number I didn't recognize. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow night." My stomach dropped. I knew with a sickening certainty that this wasn't about work. I took a screenshot, sent it to my own phone, and quickly erased it from hers. I felt dirty, violated, but I needed to know the truth. The next day was a blur. I went through the motions at work, designing condos I couldn't afford, all while my mind raced. I debated confronting Aveline, but I knew she'd deny it. I needed proof. That evening she told me she had a late meeting downtown. I feigned indifference, kissed her goodbye, and waited. An hour later I was in my car following her. I trailed her to a small, upscale Italian restaurant in Belltown. I watched from across the street as she met a man. He was tall, handsome, with a confident swagger that made my blood boil. They laughed, touched hands, and looked at each other with an intimacy that made me want to vomit. I recognized him instantly. Cyprian, a partner at Aveline's firm. I'd met him at a company picnic last summer. He'd been overly friendly with Aveline then, but I'd dismissed it as harmless flirting. I sat there for 2 hours watching them. They were completely engrossed in each other, oblivious to the world around them. I took pictures, dozens of them, each one a stab in the heart. Finally, they left the restaurant, hand in hand, and walked towards a nearby hotel. That was it. I'd seen enough. I drove home in a daze, the rain now feeling like a personal assault. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I just sat in the dark, Gus whimpering at my feet, unsure of what to do. I knew I couldn't stay in that house, not for another minute. I packed a bag, grabbed Gus' leash, and left. I ended up at a cheap motel on the outskirts of the city. The room was dingy, the air thick with the smell of stale cigarettes, but it was better than being surrounded by the ghosts of my marriage. I spent the night staring at the ceiling, replaying the images in my head, the laughter, the touches, the way she looked at him. It was a slow-motion torture. The next morning I called a lawyer. I told him everything, my voice cracking with emotion. He advised me to gather as much evidence as possible and to prepare for a long, messy divorce. I felt numb. This was really happening. My life, the life I thought I had, was crumbling around me. I spent the next few days in a fog, moving between the motel, my lawyer's office, and the house, collecting my belongings. Aveline didn't call. She didn't text. It was as if I'd ceased to exist. Finally, on Friday, she came home. I was there packing the last of my clothes. "Barnaby," she said, her voice flat, devoid of emotion. "What's going on?" I held up my phone, the pictures of her and Cyprian displayed on the screen. Her face paled. "I can explain," she stammered. "Explain what, Aveline?" "Explain how you've been lying to me for months. Explain how you've been sleeping with your boss." My voice was shaking, but I refused to break down. She started to cry. "It just happened," she said. "We were working late and one thing led to another, one thing led to another. Is that what you're going to tell me? That you just accidentally fell into bed with him?" I couldn't believe the audacity of her excuses. "It's not like that," she said, wiping her eyes. I'm not sure. I've been happy for a long time, so instead of talking to me, instead of trying to fix things, you decided to cheat on me. That's your solution." I was beyond anger now, just a deep, aching sadness. She didn't answer. She just stood there, tears streaming down her face, the picture of guilt and shame. But it was too late. The damage was done. The trust was broken. There was no going back. I want a divorce, I said, my voice cold and firm. And I want you out of this house by the end of the week. She didn't argue. She just nodded, her shoulders slumped in defeat. I walked out, Gus trotting beside me, and didn't look back. The divorce was as messy as my lawyer predicted. Aveline fought me on everything: the house, the assets, even Gus. It was clear she was trying to punish me for catching her, for exposing her secret. But I was determined to fight back. I had nothing left to lose. During the discovery phase of the divorce, my lawyer uncovered something shocking. Cyprian wasn't just having an affair with Aveline. He had a history of affairs with other women at the firm, often junior associates who felt pressured to comply. He was a predator, using his position of power to exploit vulnerable women. I was disgusted, not just at Cyprian but at Aveline for falling for his lies. How could she be so blind, so naive? I decided to take action. I contacted the other women who had been involved with Cyprian and shared my evidence with them. At first, they were hesitant, afraid of the repercussions. But as they talked to each other, they realized they weren't alone. They had been manipulated and abused by the same man. Together, we filed a formal complaint with the law firm. The firm launched an internal investigation, and Cyprian was suspended. The investigation revealed a pattern of misconduct and abuse, and Cyprian was eventually fired. His career was ruined, his reputation destroyed. Aveline was furious. She blamed me for everything, for exposing Cyprian, for ruining her life. But I didn't care. I had done what was right. I had protected other women from becoming victims of his predatory behavior. The divorce was finalized a few months later. I got the house, most of the assets, and most importantly, Gus. Aveline moved to another city, her career in tatters. I heard through the grapevine that she was struggling to find a new job, her reputation tarnished by the scandal. I won't pretend that I am completely healed. The betrayal still stings. The memories still haunt me, but I am moving on. I am rebuilding my life one day at a time. I am focusing on my work, spending time with Gus, and reconnecting with old friends. I am learning to trust again, to love again, to believe in myself again. One evening, about a year after the divorce, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. It was Gwyneth, Cyprian's ex-wife. We had met briefly during the investigation, and I'd been struck by her quiet strength and resilience. "Barnaby," she said, her voice hesitant. "I was wondering if you'd like to get together for coffee. I know it's been a while, but I thought maybe we could talk." I hesitated for a moment. I wasn't sure I was ready to open myself up to another relationship. But something about Gwyneth's voice, her vulnerability, resonated with me. "I'd like that," I said. "I'd like that very much." We met a few days later at a small cafe in Ballard. We talked for hours, sharing our stories of betrayal, of heartbreak, of the long, slow process of healing. We discovered that we had a lot in common: a love of art, a passion for travel, a deep appreciation for the simple things in life. Over the next few months, we started spending more time together. We went to museums, we hiked in the mountains, we cooked dinners at each other's apartments. We laughed, we cried, we shared our hopes and our fears. Slowly, tentatively, we started to fall in love. It wasn't the whirlwind romance I had experienced with Aveline. It was something deeper, more meaningful, built on a foundation of trust and understanding. One rainy afternoon, as we were walking along the beach, Gwyneth stopped and turned to me, her eyes shining with tears. "Barnaby," she said, "I never thought I could be happy again, but you've shown me that it's possible. You've shown me that love can bloom even in the darkest of places." I took her hand and held it tight. "You've shown me the same thing, Gwyneth," I said. "You've shown me that there is life after betrayal, that there is hope after heartbreak." We kissed, the rain be damned, and for the first time in a long time I felt truly happy. I knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would still be scars, still be moments of doubt and insecurity. But I also knew that I wasn't alone. I had Gwyneth and she had me. And together we could face anything. Looking back, I can see that Aveline's betrayal, as devastating as it was, ultimately led me to a better place. It forced me to confront my own weaknesses, to reevaluate my priorities, and to discover a strength and resilience I never knew I possessed. And it led me to Gwyneth, a woman who understands me, who loves me for who I am, and who makes me a better man. Sometimes the greatest tragedies can lead to the greatest blessings. You just have to be willing to open your heart and embrace the possibility of a new beginning. Betrayal cuts deep, as Barnaby, a Seattle architect, discovers his wife Aveline's affair with a colleague. The revelation shatters his world, leading to a messy divorce and shocking discoveries about the affair partner's predatory behavior. Barnaby exposes the truth, helping other women and rebuilding his life. Amidst the heartbreak, he finds solace and a new love with Gwyneth, another victim of infidelity, proving that hope and happiness can emerge from the darkest of times. This tale explores the themes of betrayal, justice, and the resilience of the human spirit, offering a message of hope and the possibility of love after devastation. Remember, even after the deepest betrayals, new beginnings are possible. Keep your heart open and never give up on the possibility of finding love and happiness again. There is always light at the end of the tunnel.